I'm Dan Rain, and I love what I do. For 30 years, I've connected farmers with their customers, and I've competed in the World Food Championships. My team has made it to the top 6 in the world. Today, I'm going to introduce you to the farmers who grow your food and show you where your food comes from. It's going to be a wild ride, and you're invited. Today, I'm taking you to the towns of Leamington and Kingsville, Ontario. It's just a 45-minute drive from Detroit across the Canadian border. This area is considered to be the tomato capital of Canada, but it's also known to have the highest concentration of greenhouses in North America. Farmers here in Kingsville and Leamington grow vegetables during the coldest times of the year, and we're going to find out how. I'm taking you to Mucci Farms. It's a multi-generational farm family. Bert Mucci is the CEO.
So my father and his 2 brothers started Mucci Farms back in 1963. They started with field farming, growing peaches, tomatoes for H.J. Heinz Company. Growing up on a farm was a different lifestyle. You really knew what a hard day's work was. Like even growing up as a kid, remembering the days after school and weekends, it was always helping out on the family farm. But it was a great experience. Me, my brothers, my sisters all helped and chipped in on the farm on a daily basis.
The early years were fun. I could remember being a kid and going to the farm, and the whole family was working there. And as a child, you know, we were always playing, but always doing something to help out, whether it was picking up a rock or picking up a box or something. You always felt accomplished because something was done at the end of the day.
Growing up on the farm was awesome. I remember walking in through here when I was a young kid. I mean, I still do it now, picking off fresh fruits and vegetables off the plant, ready to eat. Definitely ate a lot of veggies growing up. It was like my playground.
In the early 70s, they started their first real commercial greenhouse, which was about 4 acres. My father and his 2 brothers really knew that that's what they wanted to do, and they expanded into an 8-acre facility, which is one of the biggest ones in the mid-'80s at that time.
So what is the difference between, traditional farming and greenhouse farming?
Traditional farming, which we did, is outdoors. You're relying on Mother Nature a lot. Greenhouse farming, we control 100% of the nutrition that goes to the plants. We control our climate, the efficiencies in here, the automation that we have in here that you can't have in field production.
I don't think the consumer knows how big this area is in terms of tomato growing.
Leamington, Kingsville area is the highest concentration of greenhouses in North America. We are considered the tomato capital of Canada.
The ownership here, they grew up in this town. So they have a very an emotional connection to everything that happens here. And I know that that came from the first generation that first started here. So they're very focused on making sure that we're a real anchor in the community, that we're not just here to build a business, we're also here to be part of the community. So we donate to a bunch of the schools in the region. We really want to start to displace the candy aisles a little bit with healthy snacking and healthy options. We are growing at a rapid pace. I remember when we were doing sales presentations and we were telling people that we had a little over 600 people that worked here. And now those presentations are saying we have more than 2,500 people that work here.
Ajit, why do you love your job so much?
How many people get to wake up in the morning every day and say that my job today is to figure out how to feed people healthy food? How are we going to grow a healthier society right from the grassroots levels, and figure out what are the different strategies that we can use to really engage people of all ages about farming is cool, farming is fun, it's modern, it's high tech, and eating great food is amazing, and we get to really impact society in a positive way. And that's something that really, really excites me when I come here every day. So Dan, welcome to our cucumber headquarters.
Wow, this is amazing.
I don't think people have any idea the sheer scale and just the amount of product we're able to produce out of here. So Dan, out of this 14-acre block, we have harvested 16 million single cucumbers in a calendar year. There are 154,000 plants in this facility.
These new greenhouses use less dirt and less water than conventional farming.
So Dan, this is our irrigation room. So this is where we're able to recapture all of our water and treat it with heat pasteurization to send it back in the system. Sustainability is such a big goal for us, so all of our water is in a closed loop system. What we're looking at is a high-tech glass greenhouse. In here we use Mother Nature and we use sunlight, and then we also use supplemental lighting to compensate for some of the missing daylight hours that we have in the winter months.
And I learned greenhouse farming is different than vertical farming.
In a vertical farm, they're fully enclosed in stacked layers, and they're just using exclusively light. We're using sunshine.
So we use the Priva computer software to control all of our climate, humidity, fertigation, CO2 injection. Everything's measured, everything is run on an app. So we control everything from light strategy, blackout curtains in here, humidity levels, and like I said, the CO2 introduction. It's more than just temperature, it's controlling all the elements to grow a healthy crop.
When I walked into Mucci Farms and we walked into the tomato facility, I felt like it was the Willy Wonka of tomatoes.
Yes, because it is. No, I bring people through the facility and you know they're shocked to see like what it takes to grow vegetables and what's involved, and just from the start to the packaging to the equipment to pack, like they're just in awe.
But the Mucci family says one of the biggest consumer misconceptions is that greenhouse farming is where genetically modified plants are grown.
One of the biggest misconceptions was, you know, we're growing Frankenstein tomatoes because they were perfect and huge and, you know, there are no blemishes. But the true reality of that was because we're growing them indoors. You know, they're not exposed to bad bugs that are outside because we're controlling that with biological controls. So we're treating these plants with the perfect nutrition. And at the end of the day, you're going to get perfect fruit.
So how does the Mucci family find new varieties? One of Danny Mucci's jobs is to search the world for them.
We try to gauge what the market is looking for. What I look for are just unique things, whether it's color, flavor, size. We're also looking at physiology of the plant. It needs to make sense, economic sense in the greenhouse. At the end of the day, the farms need to be profitable and need to make money in order to bring something to market.
Oh my God, these are so cute. Are these the poppers?
They are. These are our cucumber poppers, the award-winning. And it is a one-bite snack. The breeder actually made it for double dippers. So you just have to dip once and there you go.
This is the most delicious thing I've ever had.
Innovation in all forms is probably what we're most well known for. And that can come in many forms. It can come in the forms of a new SKU, a new product, the best tasting tomato, the next best tasting tomato, or the next best tasting pepper. But it can be varietals, it can be packaging. But that's something that they look at us to bring to the marketplace, and they entrust us with that. And we've won many awards for our innovation on different levels.
For greenhouse growers everywhere, light emissions is a concern for the local communities.
In greenhouses, we use grow lights to make up for the shorter daylight hours during the winter. To be good neighbors, the Mucci team, you know, that's something that we really wanted to focus on. So we pioneered a solution that would reduce the light emittance to what you'd expect maybe a local baseball field. Our team perfected growing with blackout curtains that have only a 10% opening, which blocks out 90% of the light, and we can deploy that with just a touch of a button.
So my first day was coming to a close, so it was time to discover Kingsville, a town in the southernmost part of Canada on the shores of Lake Erie. It was a quiet, cold weeknight, but I got to sample wine from local vineyards. If you spin the globe, Kingsville is on the same latitude as Napa Valley. At the crack of dawn, I was ready to hit the ground running. Bert Mucci invited me to join him on his morning run. What I didn't know, he's an Ironman triathlete. and the temperature was below freezing.
I'll see you at dinner.
At the greenhouse, Ajit had one more person for me to meet. Saber, who seemed part plant doctor, part scientist. His job was to use his technology company to scout out problems before they hit the plants.
I'm a farmer myself, and growing up I always wanted to have tools that help make farming better. So farm, as you know, is part art and part science. And science is all about measurements. So here, for example, if you want to know how many tomatoes you have, we have this technology that's called OCO2 that essentially just walk in the rows and just count the tomatoes for you and tell you how many ripes do you have, how many red ones do you have. And they use this information in a greenhouse to calculate what output is going to be every week. During the outbreak of COVID, people wanted to know how the virus is spread in human population. I asked myself, wait a minute, why can't we use this medical algorithms in agriculture? And what if we actually can predict how a pest or disease move in a greenhouse? This machine here is called Roya. We built something that is pretty much like a combination of MRI and X-ray in a box that can scan the plants and find if there is an onset of a problem. And we put it on this machine that essentially drives at night. It can go between the rows of the plants and it goes and find the problems. On your tablet, you basically have a map of all the areas that you have to go and fix.
Bert, you said that you don't use pesticides. How do you accomplish that?
So we use biologicals from BioBest. You could see the eggs here. It's a slow release hatch. They slow release and they go after the bad bugs.
Among the good bugs are bees, lots of them to pollinate the plants. Cole Mucci, Bert's son, keeps an eye on them.
So how these bees work is that there's a reservoir at the bottom filled with water and sugar, and the bees feed off from that, and from sunrise to sunset, they enter and exit through the 2 doors.
So now it was time to see Mucci's production facility and watch how they move millions of tomatoes, cucumbers, peppers, and strawberries.
One thing we really focus on here is sustainability in a way that allows us to maximize health and food safety so customers are getting the best quality product. And one way we do that is through automation and technology. So our team will come here in the morning, they'll harvest product, and then wheel it into the rows. From here, the M-Track unit through an induction wire will drop the product off at the warehouse where it's going to get packed to the appropriate line. Somebody in the row will touch the product with a glove. The next person to touch the product, the customer. Ah! I said one touch point.
Sorry. But once your product is on the store shelf, how do you make it stand out?
Consumer buys with their eyes, and they make a decision in seconds. They walk by the packaging, they like the packaging, and they'll take it. That's step one. We want them to come back. That's the consumer experience. So they take our products home, and we truly believe that we have the best tasting products in the marketplace.
Consumers really are looking for the story behind their food. They want to know how the product is made. They want to know where it comes from, what the benefits are, what they can do with it. And I think that with marketing, we can help disrupt those misconceptions that greenhouse grown is genetically modified or we put chemicals on our products. Like those are serious misconceptions. I think greenhouse grown is the safest, most clean, and most sustainable way of growing.
We try to deliver the best quality. We feel that we're the best growers in the industry. Our retail partners challenged us years back to bring better quality tomatoes to the winter season. Mucci as a company invested millions of dollars in artificial lighting, lit culture as we call it, to bring better quality tomatoes to market during the coldest, darkest months, January, February, March, and there you have it.
The greenhouses are high-tech and enormous. If you think they're just a bunch of pipes and glass, think again. The builders make sure they can withstand all types of hazardous weather.
The common misconception is a lot of people think that greenhouses are just a cookie cutter solution. It's definitely not. So what we do is we take in consideration what the grower plans on growing, where the actual greenhouse is going to be located, and then we purpose build this greenhouse specifically around those two big points. So we get pretty granular.
So one of the misconceptions of greenhouses is that they're fragile. Can you correct that misconception?
Absolutely, it's a big one. If we're going to build a greenhouse in an area that has higher winds or that has the potential for tornadoes or hurricanes, we do things for the actual structure, meaning we would have larger anchors or footings in the ground, thicker gauges or larger posts closer together, stronger trusses. We've built many facilities here, so they are able to withstand the winds that we see in this area. If you look inside of a greenhouse, you're going to see hundreds of thousands of plants all lined up, and they all look the exact same. There's a reason for that. We actually distribute food and water to every one of these plants, and it comes in at a specific amount. Whatever the plant doesn't take, we actually take that water, we put it through a process of filtering and sterilizing, and we reuse it. On top of that, we do heating and cooling for our greenhouses. For heating, we know that a plant likes CO2, so we make a closed loop system, and we run pipes throughout the entire structure, whether it be on the walls or beneath the plants or above where the snow would be, and we rotate this hot water at all times.
The talk turned to the future. We spoke with Steve Bradley of Cox Farms, who said building new greenhouses may be a wise investment to prevent food shortages. What is it going to take to scale it?
That's where we're uniquely positioned to take advantage of this opportunity. These are infrastructure, capital-intensive businesses that you have to have a long-term outlook to be able to make the right decisions. What we have is the perfect recipe between Mucci, who are the best operators in the business, and then we bring in Cox with our capabilities of operating large businesses, infrastructure businesses, consolidation, and of course capital to spend with a generational outlook that we can think about these businesses, 30, 40 years from now and build for the future.
When I competed in the World Food Championship, we were given a specific list of ingredients and had to come up with a unique recipe for the win. Today, I'm challenging Canadian chef Daniele to use Mucci greenhouse vegetables. He's known the Mucci family for over 2 decades.
As the conductor of tonight's meal, how does it make you feel?
I'm extremely proud. I've known this family for a long time. Watching the family and the kids and their kids grow up and their kids grow up, and to have them all at one table and cook for them and using their stuff, makes me feel really proud.
Daniele, why do you like cooking with greenhouse-grown vegetables?
I mean, what's there not to like? Don't get me wrong, I love being a kid and picking vegetables out of my dad's garden, but they never look like this, and they never taste like this. So if you're giving me the option as a chef to use a premium product and that's picture perfect, I mean, why wouldn't I?
What advice would you give to a home chef that wants to prepare a meal with greenhouse-grown vegetables?
I'm very old school, rustic, so I always tell people use very simple components, extra virgin olive oil, sea salt. Just keep it natural because the product just speaks for itself.
Why don't we head to the kitchen?
All right, listen, you bring your appetite, I'll bring the knives, and we'll see what happens.
I'm ready.
All right, let's go.
Today, Chef Daniele is cooking a 2-color tomato soup using simple ingredients.
I'm literally gonna put a tiny bit of butter in here.
All right.
Once this gets going, before it gets brown, we start adding the sunblissed tomatoes. The color on these are so nice and gold.
Gorgeous.
The thing with these tomatoes too, they retain their shape and their color for a long time.
Now, what's the flavor profile of those tomatoes?
Nice and sweet, nice big crunch when you bite into it. Like if you eat it just naturally like that, it's gorgeous. So we're just gonna kind of let this slowly dance around with that oil and the butter, right? Black pepper. This is a Muldoon sea salt. Now we just got a little blistering going on.
They're dancing in the pan?
They're dancing, they're all getting along.
Good.
So we're gonna add just a little bit of chilies, just to give it some spice.
Okay.
And then we're gonna deglaze this. So we're gonna turn this up a little bit. And we're gonna add a little bit of white wine. Well, for me, Pinot is a little bit lighter. It's a more neutral wine, right? So once this is in here, they're all kind of sitting at the pool, right? You know, having fun.
Sitting at the pool.
Yeah, that's it. So all optional herbs. You can do whatever you really like.
Okay.
Like I personally like the earthy kind of parsley, rosemary kind of thing, right? So I'm gonna add pesto tonight.
Ooh,
so I'm gonna do like a nice natural yellow and nice natural red, and then the pesto is just gonna go right in the middle. Kind of bring the two worlds together. And that's it. We're gonna let this go for like 10, 15 minutes. Once everything starts to break down, we're gonna zip it in the Vita blender, and then we're ready to go.
So Chef Daniele, what are we making?
We did like a rosé martini,
Okay.
right? And then we took the green beef steak, took the seeds out, the skin off, liquefied it, and now we're gonna solidify it. So we're gonna use this molecular gastronomy, right? I'm just gonna drop this in here. So we have our little olive here.
Wow.
We're just gonna put it in there.
Yum.
It's pretty good.
So how do I get into the?
You gotta get to the bottom. I mean.
Twist my arm.
The
I need to try it right now.
It has that earthy kind of like tomato, but it also tastes like anola.
I totally taste those flavors.
Yeah.
This is amazing. So this is like a martini turned upside down and all around. It's almost like you're half chef and half chemist.
And like quarter crazy. Does that add up?
You
It's
know
like
what?
half and
I can relate.
I think it adds up. Yeah.
It was time to gather the Mucci team for a delicious dinner.
Hey guys, let's get this dinner started.
Of course, let's bring it to the table.
I want to make a toast to my fabulous new friends. It's been an amazing week. Thank you so much for the memories.
Dan, I welcome you to Kingsville, Ontario, and we are glad to have you here, and welcome to the best produce company in the industry.
Cheers. Thank you.
We started with the artfully prepared tomato soup.
Really good.
Thank you. So what is yellow tomato?
All right, guys, so we did AAA Angus filet mignon from Alberta. You have a scallop potato dauphinoise. We stuffed a prova tomato with some pesto, Parmesan cheese, a little bit of breadcrumbs, and then the savory, just like a strawberry-like tomato, we just a little bit of olive oil, sea salt, and slow roasted it.
Incredible. Incredible. Nice job.
Those teardrop peppers.
I love those potatoes. Wow.
All right, guys, listen, I just wanted to say thank you for giving me the opportunity to cook for you guys, and I hope you enjoyed everything.
Thank you. Thank you. Controlled environment agriculture is the future of farming. We've come a long way, but we've got a long way to go.
Dan, we care about health and food safety here at Mucci Farms. Shoe covers.
Does this come in teal? What kind of science are you doing back here?